Welcome to the virtual family council meeting, everyone. My name is Jamie Rose. I'm your meeting coordinator, and we're going to kick off our 3-year celebration. Just a reminder for our confidentiality, please refrain from using the name of your loved one. Do not name specific facilities. Please use a nursing home or the personal care home to present to the group. If you need specific assistance, please use the chat feature to state which county you are in, and we will get you connected to your assigned ombudsman. And these calls have public access and are designed for family members and friends of residents in long-term care facilities. Our meeting agenda this evening, we're going to get our virtual meeting tips from Jay, and then we're going to turn it over to our meeting founders for a little bit of a history of the beginning and where we've been. And then we're going to end it with a moving forward and where we go from here. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Rotz for our meeting tips.
Thank you, Jamie, and good afternoon, everyone. First of all, you've all been placed on mute upon entry. We'll open the lines in a bit so that you're able to share. If you'd like to speak or have a question, please use the raise hand feature. Once you raise your hand, we'll know to acknowledge you and unmute your line. The chat feature is at the bottom of your screen as well. Once you maximize it, you will be able to chat with presenters or others during the meeting. If you need to step away, you can stop sharing your camera by clicking on the camera icon. That's also at the bottom of your screen. You can click on it again to start sharing your camera again. And finally, concerns or questions can be directed to the State Ombudsman Office. The telephone number 717-783-8975. or by email at capital LTC-ombudsman@pa.gov. Jamie, back to you.
Thank you so much, Jay. So I'm very honored to introduce our first speakers, Ms. Carolyn Tenaglia and Kimberly Shetler. They're going to go over some of the beginning and how we formed and where we've gone from there.
Kim, do you want me to start? Or?
Yeah, go for it, Carolyn.
Well, just because it's been a little while since I've done this, I just wanted to introduce myself to the group. My name is Carolyn Tenaglia, and I was a local ombudsman for a long time, and then became the Northeast Regional Ombudsman. And over the last 2 or 3 years, I have been a very part-time specialist working on some educational resources and reviewing some of our documentation. So there's a good chance that some of you don't have an idea who I am. So it's nice to sort of meet you today. I am not on the screen. I've connected only by phone for a very long story that has to do with technology, so I'm not going to waste time on that. But the beginnings of this very special group are interesting, and it was really just a situation where we were stuck. If you think way back to the beginning of the COVID situation that developed into a pandemic, a lot of the tools that we used to connect with families and residents were taken away from us. We could no longer do the facility visits, and you all as family members had some very unique challenges that we had never dealt with before, meaning that you couldn't visit your loved ones. You were having trouble getting access to your own family members, and our phones became extremely busy, and we felt frustrated over our struggle to connect with everybody and to give them viable solutions. So we did what we do best, and that is brainstormed, connected with each other, discussed how can we help these families, how can we stay connected to our residents. And since the whole country really was moving to a virtual kind of tool bag, we started to look in that direction, and the virtual family council was born. It started with some really basic framework, just an opportunity for people to call in and vent, and so that we could connect with more people more efficiently. We could hear what the concerns were. We could try to find out what was needed, and then take that back and try to come up with solutions. Just as I'm going to be totally honest, just as you were all overwhelmed, we were overwhelmed. We really didn't know how to help you, and so we thought this would be a good beginning. And we were not expecting a whole lot of success with it, to be honest, but your response surprised us. And we started to grow exponentially, and it morphed into a real dialogue rather than just an opportunity to vent. And then you all were so wonderful with requesting resources and information. So we brought in speakers, and this thing really just became a very unique opportunity for us to stay connected with you, and through you, the people we really need to serve, which are our residents. I was thrilled to have the opportunity to be involved with it on the ground floor. I am so glad that it was useful for all of you. And, you know, I feel badly. I'm going to be permanently stepping away from the program next week. But I have no doubt that you guys are going to do great things with this moving forward. So, Kim, why don't you share your perspective on our start?
Sure. I'd be happy to do that. Hi, everybody. My name is Kim Shetler. For those of you that don't know me, at the time that this was all born, I was making a transition from being a regional specialist for the North Central region of Pennsylvania to becoming our data and analytics specialist. So I was in transition during this phase. But Carolyn and I, when brainstorming, knew we had to come up with a way to reach the people who were calling our local programs in droves and getting them some up-to-the-minute information about what was fact and what was fiction. So as you all know, this was a journey, right? It started out and we didn't know where we were going to go with this, to be perfectly honest. And I have to say that this program was born, the Virtual Family Council, one of the fastest stand-up responses we ever did in the Ombudsman program. I've been with the program for about 22 years now, and I think it was 2 weeks start to finish with the concept and then actually having our first meeting. So it was wildfire in terms of how fast we turned this around and made it function. As we went through this, we realized that this concept that was born out of a public health emergency, never in our wildest dreams did we think that we would all be sitting here 3 years later. We really thought this was just going to be a temporary way for us to exchange information and get people connected in the best way we could. And I'm amazed that this is still happening 3 years later. I want to read something to you, which I thought was really interesting when I was doing a little bit of research on where we came from and how this concept came up. I came across some notes and a statement that Carolyn and I wrote about what our vision was. And this was when we were preparing to speak to the entire nation, the local ombudsman programs across all of the states about this virtual family council and what we did. So here's what we said. Our vision was to support families and friends and act on concerns and complaints that were affecting the residents of long-term care. We were serving as a sounding board and an advisory body on new ideas and improvements and advocating for a positive change within facilities and the long-term care system in general. Our goal was to communicate with both nursing home residents, families, administrators, and staff to support all activities that benefit residents during this time. So, you know, when I sit and I think about those words, I realize that while Carolyn was thinking about all of the social concepts and how we were going to apply this, and bringing Jamie into our mix to also help us facilitate this with her social work background, I was tasked with figuring out all the logistical challenges to this. So what platform would be most user-friendly for everyone? And that's when we selected Zoom. You know, how we were going to get the communications out to you, and Jay helped us figure out how we could set up an email response that would go back to people as long as they put the words virtual family council in the subject line. And you all certainly know we still use that to get the link out to folks. So that was a great idea. Out of this was also born an opportunity for us to really expand our communications outside of just the local ombudsman entities and other ombudsmen across the states. Suddenly we started getting media requests. People wanted to know, what the heck were we doing? And our communications office also got interested in what we were doing. And so we were starting to talk to reporters about this, to other state ombudsmen about what we were doing, other organizations, other virtual family councils, but they weren't called that, but they were other organizations. So as you can see, it just kind of mushroomed, and it got way bigger, as Carolyn said, than we ever anticipated it would be. The data behind this is just fascinating. The number of people that hit our Facebook page and get into our chat area, and Caitlin has been doing a lot of that posting for us now. And I mean, that's just amazing. She was a family member that jumped on, you know, one of our first meetings, and now she's helping in the background, volunteering to help us with all of that support. So it's just incredible. It's been a wonderful experience, and I'm so glad that we were able to meet some of those needs for folks at a very difficult time. That's for sure. And as you can see, Niles and Orion, my cats, are still climbing on my desk 3 years later, and sharing, you know, their love for this program as well.
You know, Kim, I think if my math is correct, I am doing some version of ombudsman work for roughly 27 years. And my one and only time on television was for the virtual family council on the public broadcast,
Yep. PCN.
PCN.
Yep.
And I mean, we've been involved with all kinds of high profile facility closures and all kinds of things.
Yep.
But this was the one that caught their attention, and then we were able to get the word out all across the state.
Yes. Yep. Really amazing. So, you know, I just wanted to come to everybody and thank them for taking this journey with us over 3 years. It's been an amazing ride, and we've learned so much from all of you and your participation. So it's a big thank you.
And a tip of the hat to our state ombudsman, Margaret Barajas, because when we went to her with this crazy idea, she ran interference for us and got us through some of the administrative hurdles in a hurry, as Kim had mentioned, and took a real risk on this.
Mm-hmm.
So Margaret, thanks. Thanks for giving us the opportunity to try this, and all of the support we needed to make it work.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies, for coming back and for, you know, dreaming this idea up and fighting the good fight to get us rolling.
Yep.
Appreciate it. So we're going to take a look back now at all the meetings that we've had over the past 3 years. So you'll see the video that I had put together. So if there's anyone that you recognize, or if you had a favorite, feel free to add comments in the chat. We'd love to hear what your thoughts are. I was really surprised. I couldn't remember some of these, and it blew my mind when I was putting this together. So let me share that with you all. All right. Anybody see some good memories there they'd like to share?
Wow. There's just a lot of amazing resources. Holy cow.
Right.
Amazing.
Jamie, will these be available ongoing on the YouTube page?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Yep, we have, I believe I checked 45 videos on the YouTube page, and then I call them the earlier days are still on the Facebook. So if you want to see the real technology struggles, you'd want to hit up the Facebook videos. We've come a long way. And I wanted to share a couple of just little facts. Believe it or not, we've had 78 live meetings, including this evening's. I thought that was such an impressive number. We have over 544 members on our listserv. That includes 16 different states. I thought that was awesome too. We have over 500 followers on our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel has gotten over 4,000 views. How amazing is that? I just get really excited about that. So is anybody surprised by our numbers or seen a couple things coming up in the chat?
We had Donna write in the chat, I'm especially grateful for and was so impressed by Carrie and the National Consumer Voice Advocates who were VFC guest presenters. And then she also said the information on compassionate caregiver designation information was invaluable. It meant so much to caregivers and residents.
Fantastic. Yes, there's so many good things. I forgot some of those meetings and some of those great speakers that we had, so it was nice to watch that back. We did a lot of work in those 3 years. And that kind of brings us to our next phase. So I want to turn it over to Margaret Barajas, our Pennsylvania State Long-Term Care Ombudsman, and she's going to talk a little bit about moving forward. So welcome, Margaret.
Hey, Jamie. Hey, VFC. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. Excuse me. So yeah, hello, friends, colleagues, family members. It's really good to be here with all of you today. As Jamie said, I'm Margaret Barajas. Donna, I am still your Pennsylvania State Long-Term Care Ombudsman until somebody says otherwise. Looking back, so just a couple notes that I have here. It was January 31st of 2020. There were 6 confirmed cases of this new coronavirus in the United States. And there was a group of federal health officials who gathered rather somberly, I recall, at the lectern at the White House. And they declared a public health emergency. And they said something to the effect of, beginning at 5 p.m. And it was, yes, in fact, February the 2nd, the United States government will implement temporary measures to increase our abilities to detect and contain the coronavirus proactively and aggressively. And that was from then Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar. And here we all are, more than 3 years of social disruption, at least 6 million hospitalizations, and 1.1 million US deaths later. That declaration expired last Thursday. We've been through a lot, as we've just seen. Some folks say it's about time. Others remain concerned about the virus and worry that the end of this public health emergency, this declaration, could mean relaxing measures that will allow the virus to create new disruptions. I don't know. Clearly, it's still a significant problem, especially in long-term care. But emergencies can't go on forever. And, health officials are now saying that it feels like we are now in a place where we're treating COVID similar to flu. I don't know if that's true or not, but we're going to find out. And so it was 3 years ago that one of our dedicated state office team members conceived of this virtual family council. I know this, necessity is the mother of invention, and we needed a way, and fast, to respond to the overwhelming number, the thousands of phone calls and emails that our little office received. Well, throughout the next 2 years, 2 years. And so here we were on Tuesday evenings, responding to this huge call to action. And we did it through a commitment to connect you, to connect families and loved ones and people who were afraid. We wanted to connect you to government leaders and elected officials and infection control and prevention specialists, national advocates, and grief and trauma counselors too. And we didn't always have good answers to your questions. And we know we're not experts in all things, but we literally leveraged your authority as concerned tax-paying citizens to compel those answers. And it almost felt like we were advocating for the humanity of it all. I'm so proud of our team for designing and building and launching and sustaining this landmark service. I'm so deeply grateful, thankful for the VFC Advisory Council. I still have so much work ahead in embedding a resident's right to see family, no matter what, with informed consent of risks like the adults that we are. May we never again find our loved ones locked away because of your tireless advocacy. We may never ever see that again. Thank you for making that happen. I'm just so humbled by the chance to be a part of this welcoming, informative, supportive, courageous, and relevant group. Just thank you for all that you've done. We have one goal each day here at the State Ombudsman Office for Long-Term Care, to try to leave things a little better than we found them. I hope that you too feel as I do, that through the provision of the Virtual Family Council, we've accomplished that in so many ways. But as Jamie mentioned, and Carolyn and Kim, the flowers are blooming and this semester's come to an end and government administration's end. I see students across the street walking across these stages. They're walking across stages all around the Commonwealth receiving diplomas, and they're turning a new chapter too. And so too, we find ourselves here in May with the desire and with the timeliness to bring the Virtual Family Council to a close next month. I hope that this has brought you some peace, some solace. I wish peace and solace and health to you all. And I look back and remember so many things as I'm watching this video, and I guess in many ways we really have become a family, haven't we? And we did what no one had ever done before and will likely never do again. And just thank you all for having been a part of this truly historic opportunity. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. You said it excellently. It's been such a great experience, and we've really become family with the family members. So it's been a great journey. So as Margaret said, our last meeting will be next month for our live Zoom meetings. We are still going to be on our Facebook page, and the chat area is going to remain open. So if anything does come up, or if you have any issues, you can reach out to us that way. We have our YouTube page. All those awesome presentations that we have, those will still be available for anyone who may have something come up in the future and you might need a resource. Those will all be there for the indefinite future. But we thought it would be a good idea to end with the peer perspective, because our focus has always been on our residents and family members. So we're going to bring the peers back for our final meeting, and they're going to talk about increasing the personal needs allowance. So that's their next project, because we haven't had an increase in that since I believe it was 2007. So Candy's going to come on with the peers and talk about this new initiative that they have to really, push it through. We're really hoping we can get some attention, and the family members can help us with that as well, reaching out to, their representatives. So we want to make a big splash with this. So we thought that would be a great idea to really end with a bang, so to speak. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat, or if anyone would like to raise their hand if you have any comments. Let us know.
Annette has her hand up.
Hi, Annette.
Hi, I hope everyone can see me. I don't know if my camera is working,
Yep.
but can you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, great. I just wanted to say, how valuable these meetings had been to me throughout the 2.5, 3 years. And in terms of feeling like there was a lifeline, my dad being in a long-term care facility was something very new and foreign to me and our family. And, the whole specter of COVID brought just, complete chaos to our family, disbelief about what was going on. And as these virtual family council meetings started, I kind of clung to it. I felt like a ray of hope where I could listen to others and hear their perspectives and educate myself on, long-term care policy, and to hear about what we can do collectively as family members to change the circumstances, not only, during COVID in long-term care facilities, but also going forward. I mean, I just think there's so much power and strength built around the love that a family member has for any loved one in a care facility. And we cannot let go of that. We have to continue to forge ahead. Margaret, Barajas, you've been fantastic, in your advocacy. For me personally, the folks at CARI have been incredibly helpful. All of you folks on the calls and the phones and out in the field, working tirelessly every day for the residents, for our elderly, for their health, their safety, their welfare, their respect, their dignity. I just advocate and ask everyone, continue to press on, because, we can't go silent after all of this, great work and effort. And I would like to also thank Jamie. Jamie, you've taken a lot of personal time to take calls from me. You've been a tremendous advocate and kind of, a shining star. And I really appreciate that. There's always folks, in a crisis that kind of rise above. And this virtual family council has been a great, like I said, a lifeline for me personally and our family. In addition, and lastly, I would like to say the power of the family councils inside the long-term care facility. I was one who started and took initiative to start a council inside a very large nursing home in a county where I live. It was resisted against, it was pushed down, it was dismissed, and it is 1 year. And we held strong, myself and another person who started, but with the help of family members. That council is now embedded in this facility. They know it's not going away. And there's been some striking changes in policy, in administration, in employees, lots of ripple effect. And I think the most encouraging thing to see was to see family members come and attend the meeting live who were reluctant, who were scared, who were intimidated by administration, intimidated by rules, non-knowledgeable, but they came, and because there were a select few that were willing, all of us, to bring them on board and help them to understand, here's what your loved one's rights are. Here's what we're going to do as a council. Here's our federal right to be here, to form as a council. It just helped bring so many families out of the darkness. People are scared. They're still scared to question, what goes on and why there's a regulation or why there's a self-made rule in a nursing home. They're afraid to question, and we are trying to get rid of that, if you will. And we are doing, the council is doing a great job at this facility. You have to just remain strong, as everyone on this call understands. You have to be strong in your beliefs, and you have to pull others in. And I don't think we would have done that unless I got on one of the first calls that Jamie had, because that was the impetus for me and the other individual to say, now is the time. We are going to approach administration and we are forming a council. So I know this is very long and extenuous, but I just want to say thanks to everyone on this call, particularly Margaret and Jamie, and also Mary Ann May. I think Mary Ann May is on, and Mary Ann May, you were the first person that gave me hope. I saw a lot of strength in your work, in your attitude. You jumped into a very difficult situation at this facility and you supported me. I was lost. I didn't know who to go to for help, to fight for my father, for me to see him and for him to have compassionate care visits. I didn't even know what they were. So I want to thank Mary Ann May as well personally. Thank you so much, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Annette, for sharing. And it was our pleasure to help you. It's truly been a blessing to work with everyone on the virtual family council. It made a lot of new friends and wonderful networking that I don't think I would have ever had the opportunity to do without. So anyone else want to share their thoughts? Or a few things popping up in the chat, Caitlin, I'm not sure.
Yeah, Carol also said thank you to you for keeping it all together. And then Donna wrote, what Annette is saying about family councils is critically important. We need them not just in nursing, but personal care homes and assisted living facilities.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of thanks in the chat for sure. I know I can personally say I've learned so much from the virtual family council. I'm forever grateful for all the presenters and everyone's time too. It's been a great project. Let's see here. think that's most of the comments in the chat right now. Anybody want to speak at all or have their hand raised?
Oh, I want to thank Caitlin for we had a very large virtual family council work group when all of this first started. I think, Jamie, what were there, 20 of us when it first started? And there were multiple family members, and Caitlin has stuck with us for the full time. She has really dedicated so much extra time to the Facebook page, and every work group meeting we've had, she is our last sole surviving family member in the work group meeting. So, and we really couldn't have done it without you. It wouldn't have been appropriate to have that without you. So we really appreciate everything you've done to help support the program.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it. And it was an honor to be I asked for applications and I put mine in, and it was just an honor to be accepted. So it's just been wonderful to work with everybody. And like I said, I've learned so much and so much great information. So I'm thankful for it all.
Yes, we were definitely blessed to get you, Caitlin. You've helped me out a lot, especially on the tech Facebook side. Gets a little overwhelming.
I'm happy to do it.
So thank you guys so much. And I hope everyone does join us next month for our final meeting. And we'll, enjoy the peers, and we have a lot of good things to come. So you're still going to see from us. We just, like I said, we just won't be having the live meetings, but we'll definitely keep everyone in the loop on any kind of legislation. Irma had something in the chat. I'm sure she'll be posting things as well, and we'll try to keep everybody up to date on that, but really hope to see everybody on June 20th. And as always, thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions or concerns, send that to our Ombudsman office at 717-783-8975, or email jltc-ombudsman@pa.gov, and he'll get it to the appropriate folks. So thank you so much, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful evening.